Yo, what's good with it, Pack family? This your boy, MrCheckMyResume. I'm back. I'm ready to give y'all some tickets for this upcoming week. I won't keep y'all too long, but before we get into it, just wanted to say shout out to the Pack, man. Y'all know how we do. So first on my list this week, I want to talk about Walgreens WBA is the ticker. This one's been beaten up for a while here over the past few months. It's just been trending down. Looks like we've gotten to a nice broad information level around $28. Looks like a couple weeks ago we hit 28.14 on the lows. And from that last week, we had a strong inside week that took us into the next level broadening formation, which is a quarterly at around $29. And so we're looking for this trade here. We're looking to take this, I believe it's a 212 to the upside on the week above $29.51. We're looking at an initial target around $30 if you're looking at some shorter term contracts. But then also we're looking to fill the gap here on the daily time frame at around $31.14. You may want to add a little bit of time on those contracts, 30, 60 days. We do have point of control on the day at $31.60 as well. So we'll be looking at Walgreens here. This one also has potential to go to the upside in terms of the macros. We do have some range on that one as well. We could potentially flip the month here, later on, but we have some work to do. I say around $36 or so to get us to the month flip. So we got some work to do before we get to that level. I believe the level is 36.58 if you're keeping track. But first one there at Walgreens, really like the way that one sets up here off the lows. You may need to give it some time if you want to take it and get the magnitude out of it. But we do see a short-term opportunity here off the week level trigger. Next one on my list here is Dollar General, ticker DG. This is another one out of the staples. Again, this one is coming off some lows here. This one also has a gap to fill. But first and foremost, we're looking at the double inside week here. We're looking at a level of 171.16 to break to the upside here. I would recommend being patient on this one. We do have some broadening formations to kind of get back to that gap fill. We have a large range to go to fill that gap at $200.56. That is the price range I'd like to take this trade to. However, you need to kind of give yourself a little bit of time. This one is coming off lows, double inside week break, so we expect some volatility if this triggers to the upside. But again, no trigger, no trade. Looks like we're squeezing here on Dollar General. We may have some initial levels right after the trigger, like 175. And then we'll push up to around the 182-ish level, the high 181s, where you'll see a monthly level broadening formation as we try to go and fill that gap. So I'll be looking at some, contracts, maybe a couple months out, maybe a little longer, to give yourself a little bit of delta support on those contracts. But anyway, Dollar General looks like another setup here coming off the lows. If you give it some time, looks like this one will work out as well. So Dollar General. So moving on here, we're getting out of the staples sector and we want to get into industrials. First one I want to talk about in the industrial sector is Lyft. So looking at Lyft here, we got a potential entry on multiple time frames here. So we've got a couple of different setups and a couple of different ways we could play those setups. But first and foremost here, looking at a rev strat here potentially on the week. We've got the 2-2 rev set up. Our level for entry would be above $10.23. Really like the way that one sets up for going into next week. It's right here at the point of control, which is $10.33. So we'll have some early indication of what price action is doing here as it approaches that trigger level. So we really like the way Lyft sets up on the week. And then looking at a higher time frame trigger, we are looking at the rev strat on the month. In Chicago here on the month at $11.08. So we're looking at the 312 on the month at $11.08. And for this one here, we see a couple different price levels that we could take. First off, on this weekly trigger, we could see this one move up into the $11 range off of these week triggers. But if you're looking at a little longer magnitude in terms of these month triggers, I see $12.30 as another magnitude, as well as there's a quarterly trigger. There's a 322 on the month at $11.24. And then that one, you could probably look at targets around the $16 up into the $18 level. So we'll get more into that into the pack. But Lyft, this one's here setting up, just been consolidating here off the lows. Uber is counterpart has kind of like taken off and did all this, very good price action this year. So just looking at Lyft, just kind of been consolidating, holding down here at these lows. So let's see what happens here on Lyft. So continuity looks to be potentially in our favor as well if we get these triggers. So moving on, staying in the industrial sector, want to get back into airlines. Shout out to the pack. Been crushing those airlines. Delta been one of those, just been a monster trade for the group. Delta this week didn't have any setups. It is fully in force. It is smoking. But we do have an entry here setting up on United Airlines. This is a continuation play, so we're looking for a 212 on the week here, above $56.23. A couple of different ways you could play this. If you wanted to take a certain term contract, you can kind of go back and retest those highs from 2 weeks ago at 56.97. Or if you want to buy a little bit of time as it approaches this next level of broad formations at around $58. I believe there's some exact levels of like 58.19 is where I see some monthly level broad formations, as well as some higher level ones at around $59.25 for some higher magnitude if you want to get some more time on those contracts. So a couple different options here, but I really like the way this one sets up on United Airlines. Not really much to say here. We're looking at a continuation. So if price action does give us the trigger to the upside, we're just trying to catch this momentum moving up as it's been crushing it over the past few months. So airlines, just another opportunity here. So not much to say on United. Moving on here, want to get into cruise lines. RCL, monster trade for the pack. We've been cooking in this one. Oh my gosh, since April. This trade here has been a monster. I believe trigger points were somewhere around what was this? What level did we alert? Around $64.36 was the trigger level on RCL back in April. And you can see where the price is at currently now. So we had an inside week. Looks like we had a little bit of a retracement. Price came back to a quarterly level broadening formation as well as a monthly. They're kind of hovering there together at $100 or just above $100. So we're looking for, basically a TTO here on the week to take us back in full time frame continuity at these higher levels. So if we get the trigger on the week, we'll be able to turn the week, the month, and the quarter back green in full time frame continuity. Looks like we had a reversal off of those major broadening formations on Thursday, confirmed on Friday. We had the rev strat. So we'll be looking to see if this one goes Chicago on the week, 312 to the upside at 104.17 on RCL. So really looking at this one to continue moving upwards. We do have broadening formations up above his head. I think ultimately we're looking at maybe potentially 120 at some really strong levels. But we've got to play it close and monitor these some of these micro levels as price action looks like to hit a little bit of choppiness over the last week or so. So that would be my take on RCL. We're looking for a continuation again, similar to airlines. This subsector has been crushing it. So again, moving on here, done with discretionary. Want to get into healthcare. So healthcare, Pat, y'all know I've been talking about this one for a while, and that's CVS. We've been monitoring this one. I'm kind of watching it take its move down over the course of the year. So this one here, we're looking at potential opportunity. Looks like if you guys are into patterns, it looks like it did a double bottom on the week time frame. We're looking at a potential Chicago on the week here at a 312 to the upside above $70.38. That trigger looks really strong to me. But then also if you're looking at the month and you want to be a little bit more patient and you say, you know what, I want to kind of wait till it gets out of this choppiness, then you can wait on the month trigger, and that'll be at $72.83. And we're really looking to take CVS to the upside here, and it has a large potential range on it. So we're looking to see if we can get some initial movement here off the trigger points to take us maybe to the $73 to $74 level. And then from there, we'll see what happens. But I think if you're looking long term, as we're thinking November-ish, December, January, you may want to look at some higher magnitude targets, but we'll get more on that into the pack. Moving on here, last ticker I want to talk to you all about, and this is in the information technology sector, and that is Adobe. ADBE is the ticker. So with Adobe, this was one that I had on the watch list last week. This one, there was no trigger, actually failed, went 2 down last week, gave us a hammer on the close of the week. So we're looking at a 1-2-2, potentially back to the upside. Price has been kind of fighting this broadening formation since it broke out on the week of June the 12th. We had a retracement after those highs of 518.74. We've come back to those weekly and monthly level broadening formations, and we've been kind of fighting with those levels for the last 3 weeks. So we had 2 inside weeks back to back. Then we had a failed 2 down week last week, close of a hammer with a potential move back to the upside to give us a 1-2-2 to the upside above 490.42. We're looking at that trigger to potentially take us back to those highs from the week of June the 12th. Potentially from there, we can get to the level of like 525, and then we'll see what happens from there. But don't want to get too ambitious with this Adobe, but there is potential here for this one to break out of this squeeze that it's been in. So it's been squeezing here for the last month. So we'll see if we can get the price action we need here, or for it'll continue to consolidate. But there is potential here for this one to break out of this broad information range and give us price action at least back to these levels of this 518.74. So if you're looking at some short-term moves, that may be a potential for you. But again, if you want to, exercise patience, you may want to kind of wait and see until this trigger hits. But Adobe, that's what I have for you guys in the pack. That concludes my watch list, and I turn it back over to you, FICO. Peace.